What's up, guys? Welcome back to the forehead vein show, because apparently my forehead vein really never wants to stop popping off. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about discipline. So when I made my video about processed foods not that long ago, it got a really good response, and I wanted to kind of do a similar thing with the term discipline. I want to break it down a little bit more. I want to offer you perhaps a different perspective on the term discipline. Hopefully this video will inspire you to do what it is that you want to do. All right, so the reason why I wanted to do this topic of discipline is because every single time when I do like full days of eating, or just like vlogging in general, or I'm just eating something on Instagram or whatever, I always get people commenting and saying like, how do you have the discipline to only eat 2 Oreos? Or like, how do you have the discipline to not eat all of those Trader Joe's chocolate covered pretzels, whatever. And what I ultimately came up with, and I would love to know what your thoughts are on this, but what I thought about and discussed with a few other coaches and people, what I think most people are referring to when they're just talking about discipline is they're talking about the act of like not doing something. For example, not eating the 2 Oreos, or they're talking about the act of doing something like going to the gym or meal prepping or something like that, right? So when I was thinking about this today, I wanted to provide you with an alternative thought process or feeling about discipline, because discipline, after thinking about it, discipline is not a behavior. Behaviors of doing something, like the behavior of buying the Oreos in the first place to have in your house, the behavior of choosing to take 2 Oreos out, that happens from emotions most of the time. And it also happens, I think, because of how you feel about yourself, how you feel about your motivation. Like we talked about before on my channel, motivation is something that's always going to come and go. But sometimes I don't think people really get to the why of the behavior that they're doing that's either then causing them to what they think not have discipline. So I'll give you an example. Sometimes I think when people make mistakes when they're tracking macros, or, you know, even if they're not and they're just like going out to eat and they are feeling like they had this meal that was really bad and they're feeling guilty about it or whatever, then they start to feel a lack of self-worth. And I think that feeling, that whether it be like, you know, you don't feel good about yourself because you ate something that you weren't supposed to eat, or you don't feel good about yourself because you have gained weight. But even like using that as an example, just as a little side note, gaining weight is the result of behaviors. You don't gain weight actionably. You do things that cause you to gain weight or lose weight. That's kind of the same thing with discipline. So you're doing things, these behaviors, that sometimes are stemmed from deeper rooted issues. And a lot of times what I've seen as a nutrition coach, people do not actively take the time to process their traumas, heal from their traumas. And that can really show up in eating disorders, binge eating, things of that nature. And I don't think a lot of people realize that, because it's not just about controlling yourself to not eat the Oreos. Why? Take it a step further. Why do you want to eat more than 2 Oreos? Is it because you don't believe in yourself that you could only eat 2 Oreos? Is it because you genuinely don't care enough about the aesthetic goals that you set or the weight goal that you set? Like, these are deeper rooted things that I think are happening, and people just label it as, I don't have the discipline. Do you really not have the discipline, or do you not have the ability to choose the behaviors that would get you to a point of feeling like you're disciplined? Does that make sense? Because I feel like if we broke it down a little bit more, especially as coaches, right? I see a lot of coaches just say like, well, just be more disciplined. Just be more disciplined. Well, okay, if you're a nutrition client, how are you going to do that? How are you going to be more disciplined? You're going to have to, number one, create behaviors that you can do realistically, that are going to be able to be something that you can do in the long term, right? We've talked about this also on my channel, not doing things intensely and for short periods of time. And then 2, getting to the deeper rooted meaning or questions, I guess you could say. Why? Why do you have a lack of self-worth? Why do you feel like you're not good enough to achieve the goals that you set yourself to achieve? And I think those are the bigger questions that we need to start asking ourselves, both, as a nutrition coach. Obviously, I'm not a therapist, but just something to get your brain thinking, a different, I don't know, feeling on discipline. Because I just think, kind of like the processed foods video, it has not quite the right label that it needs to have, or people think that it means a certain thing, but they're actually explaining something else. And that's what I think is going on with discipline. So do you really have a lack of discipline? I don't know. Do you have a lack of behaviors that are preventing you from reaching your goals? Probably. How do we achieve those behaviors? So I'll just give you the Oreos, for example. Not purchasing the Oreos is a behavior. Obviously, it's not doing something. But asking yourself why you feel the need to overeat on Oreos. Well, obviously, for one, there's an emotional, sometimes, attachment to those foods. It could be like relating to something in your childhood, or it could be that you just really like the serotonin boost that you get when eating those foods that are high in sugar and taste good. But those are also deeper rooted issues. That's not just, oh, don't buy the Oreos. We need to break it down a little bit more. Now, again, talk to your therapist about this, because I don't want to be acting like, I'm trying to tell you what to do in therapy. But I do think it would help a lot of people to break down these things instead of just telling clients, well, just have more discipline. So I really want you guys to think about that today. If it popped a light bulb on in your head, let me know. And I would also be curious to hear if you agree with me or you disagree with me on this, because I just really wanted to make a video on it, because I get asked all the time how to have more discipline. The truth is, I think it's so different for everyone. I think it's gonna vary a lot based on, obviously your privilege, your lifestyle, your age, your child care, if you have children or not, your mental state, your emotional issues, if you have those. There's just a lot of different things. And I always say nutrition is not black and white, my friend. So that's just what I wanted to tell you today. I got nothing else for you but that. Let me know what you think in the comments section. I love you guys so much. As always, hit the like, hit the subscribe. You know the deal. Mondays and Thursdays with Manders, and I'll see you in my next video.